Okay, I'd like to call this meeting of the Ogden Valley Planning Commission to order. Today is March 3rd. It is 3:02 p.m. and I would like to ask everybody to please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now we'll take a moment of silence. Okay, we have a little bit of adjustments to our schedule for today. Tyson is going to be late. He'll arrive, he had an obligation over at the elementary school. So we'll be pushing at least 83 down to hopefully wait until he gets here. Ryan is also running a little bit late. His printer was giving him fits today, and he's trying to print out the large zoning maps so that we can really center around and look at those maps carefully. So he needed to go to from wherever he was to a different office and grab the large copies that were made, and then he'll be here. So we'll push the zoning map piece further down on the agenda. And we're going to begin as planned with a 15-minute presentation from Les Vieira from the Ogden Valley Watershed Action Group. And so I'm just going to turn the time over to Les and let him start and introduce us to the Ogden Valley Watershed Action Group and the things they have to offer. There's a lot going on there.
So I thought this would be a great opportunity to point out some water studies. Lisa invited me a few weeks ago, and I thought I'd get an hour, so I really wanted to go over 3 of the water studies that we had. Then we got cut down to half an hour, so I trimmed down the presentation that I had, and now I got 15 minutes. So in order to make this to 15 minutes, I'm gonna really read through my slides quickly, and we'll do some questions afterwards. I think I have some really important information here. If you just get the general gist of it, I think you're going to be in pretty good shape. So, and I get nervous, so ask me a question if I start freezing up or something. But my name is Les Vieira. I'm an education outreach coordinator for the Ogden Valley Watershed Action Group. Today, I'd like to briefly provide planning context related to water quality and long-term planning considerations at incorporation. My goals today are to introduce Ogden Valley Watershed Action Group, very briefly summarize 3 recent related studies that can be used as planning tools, explain why they're relevant now to incorporation, and identify where intent level acknowledgement of these studies could fit within the interim general plan and code. Who is OVWAG? OVWAG, Ogden Valley Watershed Action Group, is a local volunteer-led watershed education group. We work under the Weaver River Partnership. We implement the education component of an EPA-recognized watershed plan. What OVWAG does, we translate watershed science into plain language. We educate about non-point sources like septic, stormwater, land use, and recreation. We support voluntary stewardship and citizen science reporting. And we implement the education component of the Ogden River 9 watershed plan. We are policy neutral. We're not an advocacy group, and we're non-regulatory. Some of the work that we're doing, our work includes education, community engagement, and coordination with partners who are aligned with our watershed plan. We do have a lot of things going on for this next year. If you want to jump on our website, Ogden, www.ovwag.com, you can learn more. Why this presentation matters at incorporation. Ogden Valley is transitioning from county to city governance. The city must adopt an interim general plan and baseline code. A full update with public engagement will follow. Since the prior plan, 2016, 3 major technical studies now exist that we didn't have access to before. Key point here is early decisions set long-term direction. The three water studies, these three studies address different but related, I need to flip here. These three studies address different but related questions: how water moves, how water is supplied, and how land use affects water quality. Together, they form a more complete planning foundation. So starting with the 2019 hydrology study, 2019 UGS hydrology study, and why it matters to planning. The hydrology study shows that land, groundwater, and streams are connected. Some areas are more sensitive than others. Impacts are often cumulative, not immediate, and location and density matter. Planning relevance, land use policy is water supply policy. The 9-element let's see, water supply. So water supply and infrastructure study, planning implications. The infrastructure study shows that many systems are near capacity. Growth patterns affect total demand, peak demand, and cost, and future supply requires coordinated planning. Planning relevance, land use policy is water supply policy. The 9-element watershed plan. That's 2023. Water quality context. I'll spend an extra minute here because Abwag is part of the 9-element plan. Pineview and the Ogden River forests are listed as impaired primarily due to nutrients and sediment. The primary sources are runoff. Let's see, where am I? I'm sorry. Yeah.
There you go.
Carried away here. Pineview listed as impaired primarily due to nutrients and sediment. The primary sources are runoff, erosion, and other non-point sources. Key clarification here: impaired doesn't mean unsafe, it just means standards aren't fully met. What is a 9-element plan? It's an EPA recognized watershed framework. It identifies sources, sets measurable load reduction targets, and qualifies the watershed for funding. It is a water quality roadmap. It's not a zoning document. What does the plan do? It identifies nutrient and sediment sources, sets measurable load reduction targets, outlines voluntary best management practices, and includes monitoring and progress tracking. It's science-based and measurable. What the plan does not do, it does not change zoning, it does not mandate development restrictions, it does not override local authority. It simply provides guidance and funding eligibility, and it's not regulation. Why it matters now. The plan provides long-term continuity for watershed improvement. It supports education and voluntary projects. It aligns monitoring with measurable goals and enables, again, funding eligibility. Where Abwag fits in, Abwag supports this plan through education, stewardship, citizen science reporting, and community engagement. We're part of the 9-element plan education and outreach component. Common thread between three studies, all three studies point to the same reality. Impacts are incremental and cumulative. Growth patterns shape water quality, infrastructure costs, and groundwater connectivity. Planning matters and is the upstream lever. Why this matters to planners. These impacts are not driven by single projects. They are shaped over time by codes, plan direction, and infrastructure decisions. Early planning decisions influence long-term costs, capacity, and water outcomes. City planning considerations now, incorporation. As the city adopts an interim plan and baseline code, there are two structural approaches. One is to adopt the county template largely unchanged. The other is to retain the template, but clarify watershed intent at a narrative level. Neither requires new standards. Why intent language matters now. Intent language clarifies direction, supports consistent interpretation, and adds context when standards are applied. It does not create any new regulations, change buffers or setbacks, or add any approval thresholds. Why intent matters specifically in cumulative systems. In cumulative systems like Ogden Valley, No single project creates measurable impairment, impacts are incremental, cumulative, and long-term. Patterns over time shape water, infrastructure, and cost outcomes. Key idea here, early orientation helps maintain consistency. What intent language accomplishes, excuse me, some of this might be a little repetitive, but clear intent keeps cumulative impacts visible in decision-making. It supports consistent interpretation over time and connects short-term approvals to long-term planning direction. Again, it does not add new standards, it clarifies existing purpose. I do have some language proposed in these handouts right here, and I did distribute a little bit more information that supports that, but and I'm not going to read through it here, but I'm going to quickly just kind of go through what I offered up here as it's something you guys can use if you'd like. It's interim general plan intent language. This is an example on the slide, on the right side. This is an example of narrative intent language that could fit in the general plan introduction. It acknowledges watershed connectivity while explicitly deferring detailed policy to a future updated process. It provides context, not regulation. Interim general plan education and stewardship. This language simply recognizes education and voluntary stewardship as a complementary planning tool within the general plan. And cities and counties are finding that education is pretty effective. And I don't think that we have that explicitly outlined. Code clarification, watershed purpose language. This optional language would sit in the general purpose section of the code. It provides high-level interpretive context about our interconnected watershed and cumulative water quality impacts. It does not create new standards. Code clarification, stormwater intent language. This is an example of intent clarification within the stormwater section of the code. It does not add engineering standards or approval criteria. It simply clarifies that existing standards address both water quantity and water quality considerations. And again, water quality has been implicit. It's not really stated that that's one of the objectives, but here we're adding water quality to the language. Code clarification, right? Intent language. This is similar. This introductory language explains the purpose of existing riparian standards. Water quality was implicit and not mentioned. Here it's explicitly mentioned. It changes no setbacks and expands no authority. How all this fits together. Now in the adoption phase, this is about intent level acknowledgement of recent studies. And later during the full general plan update, detailed policy and public engagement will occur. And in conclusion, and really the big takeaway here is these studies do not tell the city what to do. They provide better information than was available in 2016 when the general plan was completed and even after the 2019 update. The question here is timing, whether to acknowledge that context now at an intent level while we're adopting an interim plan and code, or revisit in a future update. And again, no regulatory changes are proposed, only recognition of updated science and planning context. And that's it.
Good.
So if you guys have questions, I really just wanted to give you this kind of general overview that we do have these 3 studies. I know some people aren't aware that we have these. In each of those studies, there's very good information that planners can use or should consider. And those documents are technically documents, so it takes time to extract that information. And you know, if I can help you guys later on and dig through some of that, I'd be happy to.
Those are available on those.
If you go to our website, offag.com, and go to resources, you can find the hydrological plan, the land plan, the water infrastructure study.
And I did already share the links to those, but another option. We're busy and things get buried, but I did push out the link to the general website as well as the link that takes you directly to the resources. It's been a couple of weeks ago that I said that, but, I did review, gave a cursory review, to as many of those resources as I could get to, and there, the information, is very comprehensive. It seems very, very, very good. Does anybody else have questions about any of
I
this?
have a question, but your very last slide, you showed two possibilities. You put or, why couldn't it be and?
Oh, acknowledge this context at an intent level during incorporation.
Why can't it be and? Why can't we do both? You know, put wording in now for it and then with the intent of addressing it.
You
Later.
can do both. There's,
Okay.
you
That's a
can,
good point, yeah.
you can just adopt general plan as is and move forward. And really, considering this in a future update or general plan is totally acceptable. But when is that gonna happen? Is that gonna happen 2 years from now, 10 years from now? It's with the new information that we have, you may want to consider what that new information means now.
No, I'm saying include in our
Interim plan.
in our interim plan, put in some of the wording that you've suggested so
Yeah.
that it's in there
Yes.
with the intent that when we have
When we're,
wording.
when we're going to
Yeah.
go through at a deeper level, which is all dependent on the city council getting the grant and
Right.
all of those things, and those things take time. You know, I believe that the last time that they went through the general plan, they thought it was gonna take 6 months or 3 months or something, and it took over 2 years, and that just is the way it happens.
Mhm.
So I like your comment about, and, you know, both are options.
Well, and I think too, it just keep us on top of it, maybe.
Yeah.
Something to consider, and then later on, we do have tools available to us that address water quality issues that a city could use if they wanted to, kind of like a toolbox. So you don't have to, but if you choose to, I'd love to, offer those up to you if the engineer you're working with doesn't. But as we get a water committee, discuss those things.
Right, and it's my understanding that there's the potential that, after the city council's meetings, the next meetings, that there may be, moving forward with establishing the committees. So once those happen and they, get those committees together, then I think we are going to absolutely reap the benefits of the work that all of those committees do. And I had a number of our commissioners ask, or please have Les provide this presentation. I know we have some commission members, some council members who have been attending the OVAG meetings and are much more knowledgeable than I am, because I haven't been able to get to all the things that I would like to be able to get to, but that was the main impetus for trying to get Les here, and unfortunately having to scale back the time that he had to give that presentation, because we do have so many other things on our plates. And does anybody else have any comments and thoughts and questions? Yeah, Angela.
So I know our intent today is to do the review of the final draft of our general plan to hopefully move on to public input. So I think we should discuss this proposal. Do we want to just decide now and today to direct Brian to add that so that he can then incorporate it prior to release? And then also a question of these studies that you have, would it be appropriate to provide the public with the access to those at this time and release those along with the draft general plan in case there's a desire to, include them in that?
So the studies are available online, so we can share that. And so what specifically do you?
Well, so if we were to basically attach them to the general plan or reference them in the general plan.
When we send that out, you mean?
So that they would
Right.
have documents
Yeah.
available to the public if they were interested
Right.
and wanted to know what we were,
Right.
what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
We mentioned those.
Just provide a
that
hot
would be-
recap.
That'd be easy to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be,
Okay.
like, talk to Brian and see what, how.
Yeah.
that's-
And as I said, Brian is running late trying to get us the big maps for our discussion on that.
So would be, my question is, the lessons that's recommendations here to include in the general plan. And this comment that it should be called an interim general plan, which I like that. Because that shows our intent to change it later. But can we accept these now, or do we have to wait till it goes to the public?
I think what we can do is if this group agrees that we like this language and would like to have Brian help us infuse this into the general plan that we are going to then post for public review and comment. I think we can do that now. That's what we're doing at this meeting is any final revisions before we say we're ready to release the documents for public review and comment. So I do think we have that latitude to do that today. Erin, I think did you have something more you wanted to say? No? Okay.
Well, I moved to include these. I'm feeling like, with your presentation that they're very pertinent to what we're trying to accomplish. Not only in a plan, but as a committee and as a city.
I personally like the elaboration that it gives us, just getting a little more understanding and detail to what is currently in the general plan and when we can do that, and then if this group votes to do that, we can maybe briefly talk about that with Brian when he gets here and so that he is able to do that, and then that can go into the draft that then will be posted for public comment. One of my questions left, what's the rest of your couple of hours look like? Are you potentially available to hang around so that we can bring this back to talk
Yeah,
with Brian when he gets here in case we want to bring you back up for a few more things to help his understanding. I know he wanted to be here, he planned to be here, and just because he had a snafu with the printer, he's trying to scramble and get us information we need for our maps discussion, but so you could do
yeah,
that,
happy to.
okay? Anybody else?
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that reiterate that the OB WAG cites a good library for
Yes.
pertinent studies in the whole valley, so that there's, you've probably got 15 or 20 documents in there, so it's a good place to go to if you, where was that document? Where, it's
Yeah.
probably on that
And I did
website.
I did share it with Brian when I shared it with everybody else. And whether or not they've had time to dig into it, I think this is a good reminder and direction to go, hey, no, look at these things, because now we do feel they're valuable and we would like to add those into what we're doing right now to make sure that we're sort of thinking about this in a little greater detail, because I think the message that I'm hearing is that in little increments, we have the opportunity to set the pieces in motion to prevent the things from happening later that would take much longer to address.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, the general plan is a vision.
Right,
Right.
it's not an ordinance, it's, but the ordinance that we create will support that.
Right.
And this is our vision.
So you made a motion.
You did make a-
Yeah, I make a motion to insert them into the plan, the general
I'll second
plan.
that.
I would propose one change under B, stormwater. And just add, after consistent with, add applicable regulations,
Stormwater,
Read the whole thing again, consistent with, Comment?
Consistent with applicable regulations, comma, adopted standards and engineering criteria.
See, put it in here.
Right here.
Applicable what?
Regulations.
Regulations, sorry.
It means federal and state regulations.
Yeah, yeah,
And,
okay.
and I guess also potentially our county health department that we talked to.
Yeah,
we haven't met.
that would cover.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe
Right,
it's already
yeah.
written,
Okay, okay.
it would be all encompassing. So do you, when you made the motion, do you accept that change?
Yes, I accept the change and I propose to
I'll second that motion.
Okay.
do.
Right,
Thank you, now.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks. Okay. Thanks, Les. Thank you, Les, and we appreciate you, providing that information and also, appreciate you hanging out with us for a bit. Hey, we are going to skip B because we're waiting for Brian to arrive with the maps for our discussion, so we're gonna move on to C. Under regular business, review the proposed edits to the general plan. But that, well, I think we can pull that up. I can pull that up on the big screen, so everybody can look at it. If for anybody who doesn't have their copy, Brian spent a good amount of time making edits and making sure that all that the changes were in red so that we could more easily identify them.
What folder is that in?
It's in the general plan folder and it is called working copy date February 27th of 2026. So it's 2/27/26. Did
Okay.
you find that? And Kathy, are you pulling that up for us? Thank you so much. Sir. What was it? 22. Are you? 2/27/26. 1_ working copy _ 2/27/26. Ready? Ready? Wanna look at the answer? Yeah. Okay. So I think we'll just start at the top and start scrolling down. Much of what is here is just updating from changing language from county to city. So we've he's redlined the advisory committee. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. All the people that worked on this from the county. I don't see anything. Let's scroll through. I'm looking at now page I3. Community plan element chapters. Just a little vernacular and changing the language to the Ogden Valley City. Does anybody have questions on that?
No.
Moving right along. Nothing on Roman numeral 4. No changes to Roman numeral 5. A couple of changes to the abstract and reference table, which has some edits to the icon of mining, and that I think is all on that page. Does anyone have questions on that?
No.
Okay, when we get down to page 30, we'll see what has been changed. So introduction.
That change was because those pages didn't have mining in there, it had,
Right,
mining was the last part of the word,
Right.
so.
right.
My only concern is if the rest of the pages have, the rest of those sections have that same kind of issue like saying it. Or it could be, is it really discussed in those pages, is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
It's like the mining one.
So if you see any of those as we go, let's make them comments. So that if there are other things that we want him to address. So on page 1, there's a new paragraph that explains. You guys wanna read through that, or do you want me to read it?
Oh, it's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, just a reiteration of the vision.
Yeah,
Okay, that's page 1, the next page says Roman numeral 6. Is that? Okay, maybe the page number soon. Creating a plan to public involvement, there's no new, nothing new on that, on page 2. Page 3, the only change is changing from Weaver County to the city. Same with page 4. Page 6. The addition of where under clean air and water, Ogden Valley functions as a mountain basin system in which air movement and quality can be highly dependent on regional weather patterns. I think we can ask Brian if he has any particular areas where he thinks this new language that we're hoping to infuse will come in, but I think we'll leave that to his expertise. But this is what he changed so far. On page 7, the addition of the statement that the Ogden Valley hydrologic system is also constrained with limited groundwater recharge areas and highly cumulative impacts to aquifer levels and water quality. Long-term land use decisions must consider these basin-wide limitations.
I almost wish it said land use decisions will consider this baseline limitation.
Well, it says must.
Yeah.
It's also just a guide, it's not.
Yeah, that's
it's a
true.
guide.
You're right,
It's a
you're
guide,
right.
it's a guide.
It's a roadmap.
Yeah, it's a roadmap. A few deletions.
Yeah,
Down here, to identify potential groundwater source areas. And this was really just updating the timeline, right? This was just updating the timeline because now we have that study, it is completed. That's the study that's referencing is the study that's the water review that we had from Hugh and Lucy.
Yep.
Okay,
You're on page 8.
I'm on page 7 right now,
Okay.
dark sky preservation. On page 8, it removed the references to Ogden Canyon because Ogden Canyon is not within our boundaries. The
Is the blacksmith shop still, isn't that going?
blacksmith shop is still there. I don't know if a blacksmith is in it, but the blacksmith shop still exists and a blacksmith could be in it.
so this is picky, but the brick kilns are actually in the canyon, aren't they?
Oh,
I think they are.
yeah, okay. Well, we can check on that. There.
Isn't there some sort of fireplace up by the creek or something that's?
It's just a chimney.
Okay.
I don't know that it was a kiln.
Well,
right?
because it's got Shooting Star Saloon in there too, which is in Huntsville, but it says Valley residents have identified several possible historical cultural sites, so.
Yeah, I don't know that these are
So don't
historical
get
sites
picky.
around,
Yeah.
so we're
Okay.
just talking about historic preservation.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think that's fine.
I think we can move on to, and if that needs to come out later, I guess we can do that. Page 9. Really, we're just replacing Weaver County with Ogden Valley City. Page 10, I found a typo, I did tell Brian, just a little typo where it's Ogden Valley Sit, not City. That's a little fix. And deletion of information regarding the canyon. That keeps going on to page 11. The present and future conditions, essentially Brian deleted some of these tables because they'll be redone. Or left out right now until we have more current information.
I think we should include the square miles oh, we do have it there, 210,000 acres of land. Is that what our?
Shows for
city
your,
is?
oh, I see it.
He was working to update. He was working to update that. Do we wanna somebody wanna make a note that we wanna make sure that that's accurate?
Right, and
Yeah,
Page.
is it page 12?
well,
Yeah. And then we have a list of the zones that we are looking at, and where they are referenced and the percentage of land that they take up. We will,
And they're listed as prior zones or?
no, they are, right now, they're listed as zones, so we have, I believe we have a goal to, change some of the zones. Whether by name or by space or any of those things, so this. We can make a note that this will need to be updated, after we have an opportunity to review and make decisions on the maps, okay? Page 14 is carrying capacity. This is based on I believe this is based on our discussion last week, where we felt strongly that the carrying capacity was not stagnant, that it had to be flexible based on resources. And so this is the language he added: the full theoretical build out permitted under existing zoning cannot be presumed sustainable and is contingent upon demonstrated long-term groundwater capacity and quality. And then he added, some residents feel that providing infrastructure and facilities before they are needed will induce demand and will stimulate growth prematurely. Nothing new on page 16. Maps are in here. The maps will change based on whatever we do with maps, but they are just currently in here. Page 15. Took out a paragraph on essentially about TDRs for now. And a modified land use implementation 1.1.2 with just took out the Weaver County land use code reference.
I have a quick question.
Yeah,
The references to Ogden Valley City, I know there was a survey to name the new city. Will that change all these references as well?
I don't think that's gonna happen before we finish this and so we can lift the moratorium. I think that is something that is still in flux that we have no control over, and if that happens, I would imagine that would be updated when there's a review of, after.
Sure.
Because with the plan that they're hoping to get a grant in July to do more. Does that make sense, Jim?
Yeah, you answered my question.
Okay, on page 16, we removed, that we already talked about that. Yeah, 16, it's nothing on 17.
It still lists the TDR program, with those,
And I think I noticed that too, it said we needed that.
Where are you looking?
Yes, 1.4, let's make a,
But he needs to just search all TDR references.
yeah, can you put a note that we're gonna bring that up?
If you scroll up. So
1.4. Yeah,
4, 1.3, so
Yep.
there's several references still on
Okay.
this page, let's look at the other page.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So page 16.
Yeah, let's put a note so we can ask him to
Let's see.
do a search and,
15 has some too.
okay.
1.2.1.
Okay, yeah. Okay, page 17 is just changing the name. Page 18. Redline some information under demographics, present and future conditions.
You just updated all.
And it
that.
just updated that information. Any questions, comments, or should we move
No,
moving
keep
along?
Is
Just updated.
he deleting table 3 then?
I believe he is deleting table 3 with those lines there, and that would need to be updated. Yeah, if it's going back in, and maybe it won't be going back in, we can ask him, but I think that there's a potential that won't really go back.
Gotta
in.
do table 3 down below.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
It's down
Okay.
page and a half.
update, yeah, there we go. The
Okay.
updated tables.
Wow.
And figure 5 is some new projected district projections for
Right.
growth. Taking out figure 3. Taking out the figures under housing on page 20. Page 21 is an update of median income, and especially because we took out we moved out of the county, so our median income has changed. We aren't looking at the entire county, we're looking at Ogden Valley. Taking out figures on page 23. Taking out the housing purchase power table 5, that it has been removed for now, as well as figure 13, so those can be updated. Figure 15 on page 25 is being taken out, and then there's a median home value compared to median income on page 26. That has been added.
It's shocking to look at.
Isn't it?
Not shocking to me.
Taking out the big color map. Taking out the housing unit affordability map. On page 27, really just changing wording to Ogden Valley City.
Mhm.
Nothing on page 28. Taking out Ogden Canyon on page 29. Page 30. Adds the heading commercial design. I don't know what is, but then we got commercial design. And then mining, we removed some language there and said that essentially mining is not considered compatible with the vision statement and the general plan and existing land uses in Ogden Valley city limits. Page 33, we're just changing language. Same with page 35 and removing some language that referenced mining. Nothing on page 36. Nothing on page 37 or 38. Page 41. Changes some language and says we're gonna that we will instead of revise the draft, we'll create a transportation master plan. Updating language on page 42. Nothing on 43. On page 44, some information under culinary water, the study, and this is just updating the information on the study that was completed in 2017 and published in 2019.
Mhm.
And adding that the city may consider requiring additional proof of existing water rights before subdivision approval.
Is it water rights or is it water? That's right.
Let's, why don't you put that in the last thing, because, you know, where,
Or maybe
if they
both.
have, not necessarily rights, but they have actually the water, water service, yeah, let's see what. Yeah, that's on page 44. And,
But, or is it water
Actually-
service rights?
we'll ask Ryan when he gets here. There's actually, I don't know why I'm not at liberty to say, Weaver County is actually now, preparing a draft ordinance that will require, and much like we were talking about, wanting to, have is a requirement to show that you have essentially wet water and not just a will serve letter. So I am hoping that we can get a hold of their draft language and see what it looks like, because that is something that we are hoping to do.
Mhm.
And we've been wondering what that language might look like, and Weaver County is going down that same path. So I think that is good. We wish that maybe they had done that before. Page 40, the bottom page 44. We've added, the city will require health department comment on the density and cumulative nitrate loading risk of subdivisions using septic systems where groundwater vulnerability is identified. Clustering and alternative technologies may be required. This is our overarching language. We did have a meeting with the health department with Brian Cowan, the director of the health department. And he really explained to us, Fred, do you want to talk about that briefly about our meeting and the kinds of things that he,
With the health department,
yeah, just briefly, what the kinds of things he said that would be on the table that would be required for any preliminary application would be accepted.
well, well, water and wastewater, both treatment and then, disposal. That the land would be able to assimilate the effluent from the septic tank and so forth. So then there's, specific standards for that they would design to and show.
And a lot of, and numerous ways to address that. So it could be, you're in an area where a conventional a conventional septic system is fine. Go for it. Or it could be you're in an area where you need a more sophisticated sewer system or a more clustered, wastewater treatment capability for a smaller subdivision. And one of the pieces that he did say was that he, in his opinion, that was preferable with regard to being able to identify hotspots where we needed to be cautious, like with the information that OVLAG is looking at, that was, he felt like smaller wastewater treatment options in different areas of the valley would be would help us identify hot spots that we needed to be cognizant of, much more than putting everything in one pipe and shutting it again. There were a lot of benefits. There is currently a feasibility study going on piping sewage from sewer water from Powder Mountain down and over the divide.
Actually, it's more holistic than that. So it's an overall, valley-wide feasibility, valley-wide sewer
Oh, it is.
like kind of system. Going over the divide, that's one alternative. There'll be a few alternatives that I'm sure will address and say, this one's viable, that one's not viable, costs and, ballpark costs.
Okay,
So the standards that you keep referring to, are they a county standard, a state standard, a water?
Yeah,
So a state
So they stem from, the feds originally, and then
Okay.
the state, and then the county.
Okay,
So the county have some of the standards.
And to that point, the Sage, the development right over here in Huntsville
Right.
by the gas station,
Sage.
yes, they have a community there, but they have a community septic system because they are in a
Right.
100-year flood area right there with all those properties, so they couldn't do individual. So it's
Right.
pumped to one and then pumped into Huntsville Town's sewer system.
Well, they, yeah, and he actually explained exactly the way that works, and it's a very sophisticated system. He said it's extremely sophisticated, so,
So and that's an area where they have trouble with the effluent disposal in a traditional leach field, so they have more advanced wastewater treatment to put that effluent, that final effluent in better shape. You know, so with the environment.
and essentially, we don't have to decide when that happens, the health department does.
Correct.
They have to bring to us with their application. Before we accept their application, we should expect to get that information, but that's ordinances and that's not a general plan.
okay,
Wastewater.
all right.
Moving on to the general plan, that was a little farther into the weeds. Page 47. Most of it is talking, just switching the vernacular from the county to the city. But they did add, for utilities and public services implementation 1.3.4. To pursue the research of scientifically sound methods to monitor and evaluate groundwater levels and groundwater quality trends. And incorporate such considerations into subdivision development approval requirements. And then we added under public or utilities and public services, principle 2.2 to develop subdivision design requirements that consider septic system density and cumulative nitrate loading risk where groundwater vulnerability is identified. Consider clustering or alternative wastewater management technology requirements. That's on page 47. Nothing on page 48. Simple vernacular changes on 49.
I haven't had anything for a while.
Yeah, vernacular only on page 53. And the same on 54. Page 56. Said we've added a sentence, this is Ogden Valley City should support the creation of the Ogden Canyon Trail as a part of a regional trails plan. Canyon isn't part of us, but having that trail be supporting that as a way to connect with our trail, within the trails we have up here. Certainly seems reasonable.
That'd be great. if you
Yeah,
did.
yeah. Now, when we get to page 57, there's a whole lot of that has been deleted, and there's
Ghosts.
a whole section.
So why was that
I
resource
think
management?
that's,
Yeah, I didn't.
It's because we don't own the resource of the reservoir.
I didn't realize we were intending to delete that whole.
well, let's put that on a question for Brian when he gets here. Ask why he's deleted all of that.
Chapter 9.
Resource management.
Did you replace it with something below?
Well, that's what I'm,
No.
yeah.
I think it's because we don't own any of the resources. Honestly,
I like resources. You know, I don't know, we
the
can,
reservoir isn't ours.
right, I don't know, there were some, I don't know if this is the draft, there were some. Additions that were made as, I think, maybe a part of either transition teams or something. Maybe this is something that was extra, we can ask Brian, was this
Yeah.
in the original plan or
So
is this
I did,
extra information that was added that that maybe we wanna wait on the revamp of the plan in order to add this kind of information.
Okay.
But we'll ask him when he gets here, cause that's the best we can do right now. That brings us to the end of the plan. We have some questions, so shall we hold
Yeah.
our vote until Brian gets here and see what he has to say when he arrives? He's hoping to be here, I think pretty soon.
I'll be ready for him.
Yeah, we'll be ready for
Well,
it.
we've got plenty to do.
We do. Tyson said he's not probably gonna get here at 4:30. So. We, do you wanna move on to, Angela, you had FR3, does that work for you?
Here comes Brian.
Oh, good, here comes Brian, let's see if we can. Let him catch his breath before we put him on the hot seat. Hi, Brian.
My apologies for being late.
No worries, we
Richard's never
appreciate
ever
it.
been that plan.
We appreciate your help.
Banging on it all morning, so.
If we give you just a minute to catch your breath, we've just gone through the general plan and we had a couple of questions
Okay.
for you and a couple of thoughts for you. And
Okay, I know there were comments that you shared over the weekend that I didn't get
Yeah.
incorporated into the
yeah,
most recent copy completely, but yeah, I'm all ears.
okay,
I have the list.
yeah, so here, this is based on our just that we went through it together right now.
Okay,
First of all, we did have we had a presentation by Les Vieira and on the Ogden Valley Watershed Action Group
yes.
with some proposed language and we were hoping you could see it, but like circumstances are circumstances. He has some proposed language that we liked that we are going to ask you if you could infuse into the plan.
Okay.
We've got that here for you. And then Les said he was more than happy to hang around in case we wanted some additional discussion. If you had any questions
Okay.
about that,
Okay.
let me give you this.
I can give it mine.
Oh, okay. And then, Angela has some of our thoughts and comments on what we just went through. Okay.
Page 12, there was a question about verifying resident areas, so you're working on updating those. We were gonna call them prior or zoning
Yep.
areas as of such and such date,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so just make sure we get that in. And then on page 15 and 16, there's still several references to TDRs. You removed the bulk of the description, but they're still kind of scattered in there among the implementation
Okay.
points. And then on page 44, there was a comment about water rights, but we're wondering if we could tighten that up, be something like water service or something that connects more to wet water than just paper water. If you think there's an appropriate language we can.
And
right there.
part of that is that we have heard that Weaver County is currently developing a draft of something similar. A
Okay.
requirement for wet water, and so we're hoping that we can get our hands on that draft so that we can kind of see what that might look like and see what, if any of it, is something that we would like and to also use, so if you and your team can try to get that draft language, otherwise we can see if we can numerous people told us about this.
Okay.
And so, between all of us, we should get that language
Yes.
and see what that looks like.
But even if all you did was put proof of existing wet water rights before subdivision approval, would that accomplish?
Well, we need to define what wet water is.
Right.
And so.
Water service, yeah. And then, we were just curious about, on chapter 9, you completely deleted the resource management section, and we're just wondering your thoughts on that.
That element of the plan is only required for counties.
Oh,
So if there is language in there that you wish to keep, we can certainly do that, but it's not required under state law. And
Okay.
that's why I removed it. But I mean, we've still got the original text. So yeah, if you want to keep it in there, or if you want to modify it in any way to reference the different elements within it, that's okay.
What advantage would there be for us to keep it?
If you like what it says.
okay,
Yeah, I think there's a lot of good things about it.
okay.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going, do we want to leave it in the entirety
Well, I
or?
wouldn't have time.
Take it, yeah.
This is working copy one.
Yeah, working copy.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah. Well, maybe we make the goal to look at it one more time and give comments directly to Brian.
Well, we're trying to get this, ideally, we wanna give him the green light to get this out.
Right, I know.
Right, if we can get close enough.
Yeah, I would
I
say
mean,
that.
I didn't see anything there that.
I see on page 59, mining and mineral resources, that piece that I believe
Yeah,
can go.
well, it's mining's even on page 57 too.
Okay, so references to mining, because we were taking that out.
I'm hesitant to cut it completely, but I would be comfortable letting him adapt, again, just the naming, get rid of the Weaver County, apply our city, and then remove the mining and kind of peripheral things that you think just don't literally apply to our area. And then if we get that out for public comment, we'd still have a chance to fine tune anything in the hearing, right? I agree with you.
Yeah, like, yeah, I agree.
Okay. How do you feel about that, Brian?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I don't think there's any objectionable language in there. It's just, it's.
Yeah.
But what's with the reference to House Bill 219? Is that something relevant that we still want to address today?
I mean, it's probably passed or not by now.
So the problem with using House bills is if you don't reference the year that it was passed, it doesn't. I believe House Bill 219 was the one that was.
It was
one-
2016, it says during.
So
the
that's the one that
2016
established the requirement for counties to insert this resource management.
So we can get rid of that whole
document.
paragraph.
So yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and also Senate Bill 56, that's on the part with regard to fire management, talks about Senate Bill 56, which would also be the same thing, it's like it might get renamed.
Yeah, I think just simplify and just, we can take a stab at the pertinent parts for us, at least I want to hear from you.
Yeah,
I mean, I think it's pretty easy to see which things aren't applicable.
So let's not go through it with you here, so.
Yeah.
yeah. And if it needs to come out later when we're doing a more thorough revamp, it can come out then. Anybody have any objections to that?
Mm-mm.
Okay,
So the acreage here, is that still accurate, Brian?
He's good working on that.
he's working on that.
So,
And I think we discussed, did you say that some of these tables we were gonna leave out for now and add them in when we did a revamp, or are you trying to rework all these tables together?
Let's see. Sorry if I can pull my copy up really quick. I can tell you which ones. So the tables. There should be a few tables in there that I've replaced.
I saw that.
And there are a couple more that we could add, but if I put a cross through it, a red X through it, then I would just strike it for now.
Yeah,
that's
okay,
fine.
yeah, that was kind of.
We don't have time to dig into that level of detail. It's
Yeah.
not mandatory, but it can be useful and we can address it in
Okay.
future
Sure.
iterations.
so can I try and make a motion? Are we ready? We need to discuss.
I think I'm ready to go over discussed. Go ahead.
We're gonna discuss this.
Discussed.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve of this draft to be forwarded on for public comment and public hearing with the modifications or updates to the land area table with removing of references to the TDRs and with clarification of water rights prior to complete applications and with fine tuning our chapter 9 to be pertinent to Ogden Valley City and also to incorporate the recommended comments by the watershed planning group, proposed text that has been submitted to you in paper.
The one that he has, does that include our request to add applicable legend? Okay.
It might not be legible.
Applicable regulations, yep,
Yeah.
okay.
Did I miss anything?
I don't think so.
I think you got it.
I'll second Angela's motion, thank you.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. How's that? Quick, take that off the plate.
That's all you.
Hey, all right, Ryan,
And we're gonna call it an interim general plan.
I think we're just leaving it the way it is. I mean, we're
Everyone's so replaced, right? So.
because who knows, if it stays just the same, everybody might look at that and say, it's perfect.
Or, oh, it's not ready, or it's not taking it seriously, because it's.
Right.
long term. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, you can just leave it, because
General
it is a plan.
plan.
Maps,
Oh,
Brian and the maps, so we're gonna need to clear this table off. So we can
Here comes the fun part.
lay it out there and I'm
should we
gonna.
get color? It's like.
Let's-
One for the public to play with, we'll put it up on the monitor so that you can kind of follow along discussion. I do have some details to hand out that everybody can.
The same ones?
That is the same one. I guess. I was expecting that to be different. But, deal with that later. There's a smaller copy. So it'll be hard to see some of the really good, so I got some detail.
Slightly greener green or slightly yellow green?
No, it's not one, right?
Yeah, I was gonna be
Purple, no, this is purple.
working with my graphics people to sort that out.
Colorblind people, huh?
That's the same as the CBO.
I think he's going to pass. I'll tell you. What is here? What's that? Jamie? Is that a Jamie?
Well, but that is.
I got it for you. There's the county, right?
30 heavy there.
This is by my house. I just put your.
It's been back. It's fine.
Unless I have the south, the road exactly.
No, those two are both for you.
Oh, these are both for me.
Both for you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Two separate documents.
Okay, fine.
Thank you.
CB two.
I will jump in the meeting
Is there CB two?
and then I'll share my screen.
It's not in here. It's okay.
I'm trying to orient myself.
Okay, up is north on your little maps. And yeah, north is this way.
Okay.
The hatches mean.
The hatches mean that it's part of a master plan development, it's a special zoning overlay. If you wanna.
No, that's kind of, that's.
Well, no, these are not adjacent.
No, they're not.
No, so this portion is zoomed in right here,
Okay,
and this portion is down here.
I get it, okay. You just sent some.
Sorry about that. I
That's
didn't-
okay. Oh, you can film that. I just need to.
Details.
Okay.
So this is the Liberty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not make the details out because.
No, you're fine, I'm just trying.
Little,
What is this?
that's the gravel, so that's gravel, and this is gravel.
Okay,
So these are the only two parcels that are zoned for gravel.
okay, and they're both in 83.
Yes.
Oh, gee, they're there.
No, no,
Well,
no.
they're key now, but they
Yeah,
used to be 83,
Okay.
they're adjacent to 83, surrounded.
Surrounded by 83.
Okay.
We are gonna go through and say what we want to do with maps, and then we can decide. What we can decide, and if we release it for public comment, we're ready, we're gonna have them go. Now, Brian, is it possible to complete sections of the map, or do we have to do the entire thing? Like, today we are planning to review AB3, FV, and FR, FE3 and FR3. Can we do those sections, release those sections of maps with any other changes, or do we need to do the whole thing today? Before we release it to public comment?
That's a great question.
Can I ask a general question? Does anybody in your respective groups plan on changing any boundaries of your zones that you have been doing?
I know.
Well, I think there are some places that we're talking about potentially changing some zones, because we talked about potentially eliminating gravel and eliminating form-based, and I think DRR1, was that, might be another one.
DRR1,
What does that stand for?
It's resort development, and so it's like,
Right,
it's reserved for places like Snow Basin.
Which are out of our city.
and we don't.
There is like a little tiny bit of DRR1.
By Nordic?
I can't remember where it shows up.
Is it the area behind Green Hills up over to, what do you call it over there?
I'm gonna have to zoom in on the map, because it's
Yeah.
like a little 2 acre parcel.
Oh,
Right along the edge, it's not a lot of acreage, it's really small, it's kind of like, there's also a little bit of AV3, you can see
Is
here.
it sliver like no?
No, that's.
oh, A dash 3 or?
A-3 is
Oh,
different from AV3.
Right.
And this, I think, is an error.
Yeah, we need to see that, cause the notes that I had said there was no A
So
dash
I
3.
think this is a problem with my map maker, when I was trying to get her to clip the boundaries of the city out of the old zoning,
Okay.
because I did find, for example, there was some A3 land right here in this little accidentally been left within the city boundaries, but we took it out. But I think there's still a little bit of A3 somewhere that we haven't figured out where it is, and we just need to clean up the city boundary and clip it out, because again, it's not a lot of A3, it's.
What's between A3 and 80?
Just agricultural land out on the west side of Weaver County and be through this all of this stuff.
You think there's some DR?
And there is a little bit of DRR again, but I think it's just a little remnant.
Yeah.
That once we can finally clean up where the city boundary is.
So it seems like if that really applies to the resorts, that maybe DRR one should go and be assimilated into whatever it's around it, if it's that tiny. And potentially, form-based and gravel get assimilated into where what is that. And other than that, I don't know that I don't have any thoughts on wanting to change and make
The only
changes.
question I have is absorbing like the gravel thing is if they already have permissions to get gravel, they're legal not conforming, it's sort of.
Then they're legal non-conforming.
It's not going to stop any existing
Right.
gravel extraction. And it may not necessarily prevent them from growing. Because as I mentioned in an email to Lisa,
Yeah,
as it's called in state parlance, critical infrastructure materials
Right.
is a protected land use under Utah state law. They enjoy a lot of privileges that cities can't touch or regulate. And so they may be able to grow that, but it'll still just be a non-conforming use. What it means is you will not have any new
Gravel
gravel
pits. So if
extraction.
we take that out,
Yeah.
and we know that if they come back, we know that they're non-conforming use,
that's fine,
and that's.
that was my question, okay, just wanted to
Yeah.
make sure that we're not setting ourselves up for some big
Yeah.
lawsuit because somebody decides that the rights way.
Okay, so, I mean, I don't know if this is time to do it or not, but
This is the time,
at the end of Streetown, we talked about that. a lot.
right, we did,
And
that-
I think that might be something that does need a rezone.
yes, I agree, we did talk about that, and this is that area that is zoned commercial. That is over the top of the Ogden City wells.
It's commercial recreation.
Yeah, and so we talked about, it because that truly has to be protected for
Yeah.
Ogden Valley.
That's a zone.
Wells. The city
Water.
already reached an agreement with them to give them TDRs that they could use
Elsewhere.
elsewhere, not with us. And I would wonder if that should be rezoned sensitive lands, because that's really what it
And
is.
the other thing too is I don't think that the question of the wells takes up that whole area. Aren't the wells just a portion of it?
I don't know, that's a good question. You can zoom in and see who owns that, but I
I
don't.
think
I can
it's,
see them putting up a.
But if we don't
Well-
get sensitive lands, it won't matter.
Well,
so this little one here on the end, that's all Ogden City.
Right.
yes,
And actually, all of this pink is owned by Ogden City.
Okay. I would say rezoning that to sensitive lands, because that's over their wells.
We can change the zone. Ogden City is going to be using it for what it is. They're not going to be changing the use. And so creating a protected zone over it is,
Well, I mean,
Really
I
nice.
think too, one of the things like we talked about in our meeting is you can't just look at it for what's happening now. You have to look at it down the road too. So Ogden City may not want to do anything with it now, but
Well,
20 years from now, we just don't know.
sure, but they have their land, and we can change that zoning. They already have an agreement with Weaver County. If they want TDRs, they can trade those for TDRs down in western Weaver
Okay.
County and use those for, I mean, you know, somewhere else, right? They can
Okay.
use those
So that's
somewhere
the
else
only thing
that not
can
even
think of.
here.
That's
I
the only
agree,
thing
I'm
can
glad
think
you
of.
brought that up.
And then if we had talked about light manufacturing, but is that something we want to address now, or is that something you want to?
I think that's later, I think we
Later.
would, where after we have our next general plan with villages. Maybe add also.
Intersection with
Commercial
villages.
Yeah. I don't think we.
I don't think we
bring
would-
it up now.
Okay.
No.
So actually, to your question, we're not proposing changing the boundaries for what we review, just the name.
Yeah, we were changing the name designation.
So do you wanna make a note on this, so what do you want it to be? HR one, like that. Hillside Residential One, is that what that stands for? Great.
is the one just for numerical sequence.
Yeah. is it
There,
better?
oftentimes the number after the letter in the zone indicates the acreage or square foot.
Oh.
Yeah.
So 83 means
Three
it's a
acres.
3 acre lot.
So could we
RE
just do-
20 means it's a 20,000 square foot lot.
Right.
So you wanna leave that -3,
So-
if that's where it was.
No.
Do we want these?
FR3,
There was an FR1 and an FR3, and we eliminated FR1, right?
doesn't exist.
So could you just have it be HR?
HR,
It could be HR or it could be HR3. I mean, the value by default is kind of three
three, so we
acres.
should HR3. Yeah, that way we're sticking with that, we've changed the name,
It's
it's,
a 3 acre, but.
but it. Well, but it's explained, right, and then there's open space, right?
No, I think you pull it up.
Why not just HR?
You just call it HR.
It's pretty tiny, I think like 75.
Okay.
30 acres and stuff, so,
Okay,
yeah, HR.
HR. Okay,
So, yeah, so with that.
and then I think we're getting rid of the RR1, so let's cross that out. We're getting rid of form-based. And we're getting rid of gravel.
How about RM8?
The 8,
And this too.
Oh, yeah.
And E3.
what was that?
RM8 residential manufactured home.
Oh, the
The
residential.
only parcel that is zoned
Right
that,
behind
it's
prisons.
it's under your, yeah, it's behind prisons.
Mhm.
It's right, it's on the small. It's on the shoreline detail map, but yeah, it's that little brown.
Yeah, so that would,
Behind prisons,
that
about
would-
2 acres.
that would not go away, they would have a non-conforming use if you change that.
But there are no units on
We could
parcel.
absorb that in CVR
Pardon?
one,
What's that?
we could absorb it in CVR.
And we could absorb that into CDR1, which would make sense.
Where are you looking right here?
No, here.
Oh, over here.
You- Do you intend to allow manufactured housing
No,
in the community?
no. It would be interesting to know how it got zoned.
I think it's been there for a long.
I know.
Are we required to allow
No.
manufactured housing? As part of like the affordable housing or?
But
We
this
have
is
to
the
manage some
manufacturing.
It's
and
not-
we talked about.
Okay, you're eliminating-
Duplex as an option.
Okay, you're eliminating sorbet, which is like the place over by Carlos and Harley's, and those apartments are paying $1,300 a month.
Well-
So.
But
There are
it doesn't matter, but affordable, the term affordable, when we say affordable housing is subjective and it's not, and it has nothing to do with whether or not it's affordable.
There are numbers associated with the state and county as far as percentages, I believe, as far as what affordable housing will be like.
I say that we eliminate that RMH if we need to bring it back in later, then we can do that.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, it's a little
Yeah, and-
gray area, I don't think we have we can.
Gonna get into this, it's gonna help over there where
I
at
have no problem.
that commercial.
Manufacturing, right? Not just to put them on, it's to manufacture them, right?
No, no, it
Define
means,
manufacturing, being able to put it on it right there.
It's for a trailer park.
I get it.
That's
Okay.
it's small.
okay,
It's an exclusive zone, just manufacturing of the trailer park.
But, okay, so I'm gonna be the devil's advocate, because it doesn't bother me that it's 70. I mean, if you have that, that's actually an okay place to put it.
but I think that, I personally think the land is gonna be much better used it for CDR, being able to expand some commercial area over there for tax base, because some of the CDR in places, like, we don't have the Chevron, we don't have the mini storage units. That's not, so we're looking at, well, where are we gonna have our commercial areas?
Storage units are yours.
Yeah.
The storage units over here or the storage units over there? The storage units in Huntsville are ours. The storage
The ones
units are ours.
The ones over by the Chevron are in Ogden Valley City. The Chevron is not. But the
And how about
American Legion,
The Legion,
the American Legion Lodge and the storage units,
those are in our areas?
yes.
Okay, okay.
Okay, I will further play devil's advocate, right? Is there some reason why it couldn't, if somebody wanted to put something commercial in there, they could petition and have it rezoned. If somebody wanted to use it for that, if you just left it the way it is.
No, I don't think there's any problem with that. My vote would be to eliminate it and put it in the CDR, and when we can all have different opinions, and then
Jim,
we
what do
can
you think?
vote. Yeah. Jim, what do you think?
Yeah, I would say leave it, and
Okay.
if somebody wants, they can come in for.
Well, the only person that's gonna wanna do that is whoever owns it right now.
No, but it's up for sale right now.
Oh, it
It's
is?
the whole place is up for
It's
sale.
all up for
The
sale.
whole
Oh, I thought
place
it was
is up
just
for
the
sale.
building.
No, the whole 9 acres.
Yes.
Yep, but it includes that. the whole
That's might
9
be
acres.
complicated, they might prefer to have more of a commercial opportunity than a little sliver. I'm gonna put it in.
Are both of these parcels owned by the same person?
The 9 acres that is owned, that is Jackson Fork
Right.
and Chris's and all that area is, it is the same family.
Okay, and then the RMH, is that the same family?
Yes.
The
Yes,
Dillman Family Trust.
yes,
Okay, well then,
it's all one.
Well, Chris is in the lot behind the RMH lot. They're both owned by Chris Peterson.
okay, then I would say change it to Z, I say change it.
If it's, so it's all one thing, so,
Yeah.
okay.
Do you want to leave the RMH zone in the books?
No.
So that people can zone to it later? Okay.
No thanks.
So let's vote on it.
Yeah, let's vote on it.
So should we take it in piecemeal then? So.
Do all those that we're gonna eliminate.
So motion to eliminate gravel, A3, DRR1, form-based, and RMH 16 from the ordinances.
And I can't make that, I can't explain the motion.
And then change the meaning of FR3 to HR, or hillside residential, it's just more.
And I think we need to state what those zones that have been eliminated will be.
I think maybe do one at a time.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a motion, I'll second.
Yeah,
that
I
motion.
would.
Does that make sense?
I'm so feeling that.
So we're gonna do.
So, okay, do sounds all right,
Just do one at a time.
So,
I propose to eliminate AB3, or the A3.
A3 and then move it into AV3 zone?
Yeah,
I'll second that motion.
okay,
All in favor?
Aye.
next.
DR1, DR1.
Yes.
Move to eliminate DRR1 and change the zoning designation to the adjacent and surrounding existing zone.
Which we don't want.
Which we don't know, but already get our.
It's
Okay,
probably.
so skip that one for a sec.
Okay.
Go to form base.
Form-based.
I move to eliminate form-based zone from the ordinance and move and then rezone those or reassign those parcels to the surrounding zones, which in both cases are AV.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Nay,
Okay.
You wanna explain or?
I think it's a bad idea,
But why?
because you have to have commercial space and that kind of stuff someplace for walkability, for people to use and to mix in housing.
Okay, but I feel like that, the things that you stated, I think they're important, but I think they can be accomplished within the zones that are already in place without the penalties.
And then form-based zone is in the villages.
Yeah.
That's where we want it to be.
Carlson Harley is, that's in a cluster.
And it's CDR, which is, accomplishes the same thing.
One by Carlos, you talking about Eden Grassi?
No, I know what Eden Carlson.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm talking about
There's only two
the physical
form-based.
therapy building by Carlos and Harley's is considered form-based.
Oh, because it landed with, yeah, it landed within the farm-based road. I forgot it went up that.
There's
far.
spot there.
That's
Is there a spot next to you?
right there. Right here.
Okay, so that motion has been forward, right?
It's a beach ale.
And move to change the naming designation from forest residential 3 to hillside residential HR.
A second,
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Anybody else want to take that?
You're doing such a good job.
I'll do it. I'll move to remove, zone G gravel. And it'll be absorbed by 83.
A second.
All in favor?
Discussion, any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye. Everybody, there's one more.
This
The
one.
RMH.
RMH,
I move to remove RMH -1-6.
And change it to the.
And change it to wherever it's
CVR.
CVR. Yep. CR1.
PBR one. Okay, I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Right.
Did we just?
And then I move that all remaining zones, remain within the same boundaries as they had previously.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
We haven't, have you guys changed any values?
No,
well-
Fair commission. I just think with this area of FB3 should really be B3, we could do it another time. It's just, this is all farmland anyway, makes no sense. In my perspective, that would be FB3, but it's not a good breaker for me to get one.
Okay, so let's talk about this, the front part about it.
That's why.
Where?
Yeah, I didn't worry about.
So,
yeah, the corner of where your square is there, Brian.
so right here. So where the monastery is. That's really, yeah.
Isn't monastery in conservatorship though?
That's okay, they're gonna be a non-conforming use, but they're.
It's true, and it's not just the monastery, but it's also technically it's smaller, it's not monastery, it's farm.
That is currently
It's like-
in zone.
It's FB3.
So
It's supposed to be.
we put it was in FCC, so.
It's not gonna be much into it because.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think if we were gonna change that, we could do it later, because we're something like the same things and
Yeah.
FD3 is you can 83, right?
Yeah.
No, I have two different designations. There has to be a difference between the two.
They are different, but
They
they're.
are different.
One,
The historic reason, so far as I can tell, is the Forest Valley 3 is more, it's not farmland, it's more hillside. And so it's trying to protect like forest and natural scape as opposed to the AB3, which is trying to protect agriculture. But
but a piece.
currently there, as we've done them, the code is very small. So
And so, but you're saying there's a section that's in FV that is actually being farmed now, so that is.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying, that
Just-
portion?
silly, I guess, but we could. If it's gonna be difficult to change right now.
It's not difficult.
It's not difficult, this is what we wanna do.
Alright. So I would just sit, more or less, you can see what's farm more or less, because they're. Open fields right there.
So you want to kind of carve it out within that.
Yeah, just essentially flip that small section over to AB.
You want Sharpie? You can do the Sharpie, or you guys like the markers, you need. You can pick better pick of colors.
A little pressure on my drawing.
Yeah.
We're watching.
Third grade skills coming back.
And we'll just go with that. Something like that would be.
83. Alright. And then we'll put it out for public comment, and if people think differently about that, they can make arguments. Yeah.
Okay.
Similar development.
Yeah.
Here.
Oh, I got that.
What is that?
We've.
And,
What is that?
okay. Yeah, what's this, Tyson, do you know? Is this?
That and another year's thing where middle court comes down. So this is FB3.
It's because of the trees and.
It's kind of like a drainage area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did think that it seemed a bit. It could go either way. It's not that big a deal one way or another.
It's not really, I mean, if it's middle fork, that's not fun, but
Yeah, there's also random FB3 right here. It makes sense though.
Well, so change it now.
So change it now, it doesn't make sense.
Doesn't it be hillside, yeah.
So in the notes, what would we call that piece?
This one piece?
No, this one, I'm just saying near the monastery. What do we say, what do we call that one?
This would be like Competitive Springs, I believe.
Okay.
Below.
Um,
The other one looks like a foot.
what over here too seems very,
Is that the elk one?
yeah.
Healthy places.
Do you know about this one?
Well, I'm trying to figure out where it is.
I would
Because the elk farm is over in Liberty.
That, well, this is the northern part of the map.
Yeah, it's like.
No, because I think he's all the way up. The Elgin is like up in
Yeah,
this area,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure. And that one too, I have watched that one closer. We could do this another time, so I just don't know enough to say.
We wanna do all we wanna do tonight, because we wanna put that public comment.
This piece right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is it?
So
They know the village like this, the guy. Make it bigger.
that is the area of a 4 sheep creek.
Yeah.
So it's off 4100. That's actually my neighborhood.
It's the subdivision, you can see there on the.
So that is the preserve subdivision.
Oh, okay.
It's all figured out.
It's primarily, I mean, the northern part. Is built out, this southern portion is still.
Yeah.
Is
Is this pink area?
The pink is RE20 with a master plan development
Okay.
Over it.
agreement over it.
That's.
I guess it would make.
This, we
Yeah.
wanna put this into 83 then.
Yes, that's
So
true.
is that, or just take the whole thing and put it in maybe three? I think we should just take it
Yeah,
off.
yeah, just take it off. Does it,
So if I just call it preserve in the notes.
near preserved sheep creek, near preserved sheep creek.
I think it's something. In a year from now, we might wanna look at changing neighborhoods to.
Well, and this is going out for public comment. If people object, and they can come back with comments and we can revisit
Yeah.
whether that is what we wanna do.
Sorry, just.
No, I know this is when we wanna do it.
Well, it's owned by Mountain Dreams LLC, that area, the undeveloped portion. So this portion is built out, this portion is built by Mountain Dreams LLC.
Thanks.
And it's along that new fairway.
Do you see anything about with this?
That little circle in the middle we're looking.
Yeah.
Believe that's,
Oh, there you go.
Bobby is trying to turn that into a pond, is what.
Probably retention pond or something.
So makes sense to change this, just leave that alone.
Okay.
Okay.
I think it's
Okay.
Well, we need a motion before you can put that.
Yeah.
We have motions on each change.
But not.
But not this new.
But not.
Not.
So we need the motion on
We need to do the motion.
Yeah, do we need to do one for each?
Okay, so I motion to change the area surrounding the monastery, agricultural lands that's shown on the map. From FG3 to AV3.
You do not need to make separate motions.
Oh.
You'll get all of the changes at once.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So we just do a motion to absorb the FD3 islands into AD3.
If you
Yeah,
designate
show on the map.
that are designated, show on the map.
Right, yeah, designated on the map.
I'd rather break it up, something about yes on some and no on the others, so
Okay.
not everything.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't like that middle fork being, if it's not really private land, and just because it's on the map, I don't see a reason to change it.
I don't think that.
Yeah,
just wanted to say.
But it was, and we were leaving it alone.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
You guys have one?
And then I'm not really sure what's compelling about these. That would be different, I mean, you guys have been doing those zones, so again, substantially, what would be the reason?
Yeah, the advantages and disadvantages.
Well, they're gonna be residential anyway, and the residential requirements for AV3 and FV3 are pretty much identical.
Yeah,
As far as,
Is there anything for like preserving vegetation or?
the same language exists in both.
What's that?
I mean, the same language exists in both for preserving.
So then why
landscape.
mess with it then, I guess?
Yeah, I agree, why change it if they're not?
Well, then why do we even have those two zones? Why not just make,
there you are, you make for that, the reason to not, I would say, is complexity to in getting ordinance passed.
Okay. And I think that you might massage the AV a bit with more ag focus than the other, I get that.
Yeah.
That down the road, so I think keeping them separate is fine, I just, if this is. Truly agricultural uses that you're thinking would happen there, then I'm all for it, but if it's.
it's totally both.
But it sounds like that's.
It's just like it butts up against the Wolf Creek Seven Bridges area and the new fairways. I mean, I know you know where the new four-way is, right, over off 4100, so if you go up 4100, that's where this undeveloped piece is, this is 4100 right here. So the land between where the stop sign is, basically, and where Seven Bridges starts, that's what this is, that's gonna be houseless, that's not gonna be farmland.
Yeah,
It's farmland, yeah.
It is currently.
and this is not a cluster.
I know it's
development in here.
already is.
Yeah, it could be fun.
So I'm all for this. And I like keeping that, these, I'm just trying to just talk it out, because I just.
Yeah.
Well, how about we just change the monastery stuff when we revisit this later?
That's fine with me.
Does anybody else have a problem with that? It's
No.
compromise, half and half,
Yeah.
like a marriage.
Do we need to vote?
We need to vote on that part
On
of
the
the monastery.
monastery,
we're taking that out.
Don't need to vote on those because that was just discussion only,
Correct.
right? Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
Carson, make your motion.
I make a motion to change the area surrounding the monastery, the agricultural lands there to 83 from FB.
I'll second that motion.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Okay, you came just in time,
That's right.
and then did we also say that all other boundaries will remain?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay, did we also have a motion for that?
I think we did.
Yeah.
We did.
Well, other than.
Is this the time to talk about annexation?
Boundaries / zones remain the
Yeah.
same as currently established on the zone map.
Unless, unless.
Or is it down?
Yeah.
Pardon me?
Maybe a separate conversation.
Anybody want to
Second.
I'll second.
So more discussion?
Second.
Any more discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now it's back at you.
Hey. Get that updated.
Thank you for printing all this.
Yeah.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah. I just want to have my problems.
You want to sit in here?
There's an extra one in the back.
Yeah.
We take it for legendary zones.
No, I don't.
No, I-
I have. I was just. Mine is.
Yes.
Just a sec, I need to see someone.
Oh, yes.
Very good.
Well,
No, you're right there.
We see that to talk about Wade Tyson, so we just go ahead and we talk about it, and you can also rearticulate this, that we've changed the name to HR.
It's not, I think ours are gonna be quickly dirty.
Okay, well, these are supposed to do, so I hope the name doesn't throw, it's really essentially, it simply to the FR, just got the designation, it was the ultimate using for us. And so, just to reiterate, the purpose and intent, we also provided clarification there. HR, that's we're getting rid of one, zone is intended to accommodate the established medium density residential development in the form of detached, single family and attached and multi-unit housing within a defined area of the valley that recognizes existing condominium and townhome patterns and provides standards for their continued residential use, whether owner occupied or rented. The purpose of the zone is to allow compact residential development within a limited geographical area while preserving the broader rural and agricultural character of surrounding lands. So all of these like table references and section, all that, you're gonna clean that up, Brian, right, in terms of cross-referencing
Yes.
that, we didn't mess with those numbers. And so we essentially, we were trying to eliminate, conditional uses. For the most part, I think we ended up with a couple though. And then just cleaned up, some that were non-permitted, we permitted, some that were conditional, we made non-permitted. So we can go through that, if you wanna pull it up, on the screen for people, it's the FR three zone, the working file.
Are you there, Brian, or do you want me?
I got it. Yeah.
Okay,
Did we change much from our last meeting on the conditions of permitted?
no. Did we?
I don't think so.
No, so yeah. Yeah.
Or we talked about it, we were just so, Lisa actually. Okay.
Yeah, you want me to jump in with that?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, when we got down to corral stables and stables for horses, that piece, went to, it's a permitted use. And I suggest that we just make that language match the other language. Right here, we've got no more than 2 horses be kept for 1 acre, but everywhere else we have 4 to 1 with a 1 acre minimum for horses, and I would suggest that we make it all match across the board for everything.
Really funny.
Down
Hillside residential, right?
Hillside residential, yes.
is what it's gonna call. Then when we got down to short-term rental permitted uses, I suggest that we take short-term rentals out for now, other than the short-term rentals that are already permitted and licensed because they're already allowed, that we don't allow any more short-term rentals for now until we deal with short-term rentals. And the reason I think we want to elaborate more on short-term rentals is we need to address our lack of housing for people. And so if things that are built are all available, here it seems to be blanketly available to be short-term rentals, then we are limiting our ability to have housing for people if those all become short-term rentals. And so I would say for now, if we eliminate more short-term rentals, we can come back later and add those in when we grapple with those after the moratorium. And potentially, I would say that we want to limit the number of short-term rentals, like saying when someone comes in with an application, that we have some requirement that a small percentage be allowed to be short-term rentals. That's something that happens in other areas.
Well, yeah, I mean,
But-
look at, old people having.
Assisted
It's not assisted living,
No,
but like.
senior housing.
Senior housing.
Senior housing.
Senior housing, it's usually an 80-20 split, like you have to have a certain percentage
Right.
Available for senior housing, and then the other percentage has to be available for.
Other things, right, so, but I would propose that we take short-term rentals out of the equation for now. So that until we get short-term rentals wrangled, we have legal short-term rentals.
Do we?
Oh, absolutely, there are legal short-term rentals that are business licensed or they're in the right areas. And then we have a plethora.
And are any of them in this zone?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, yeah, I think a lot of them are in
Well,
that zone that are condos, but that's what we're talking with these with our SOB. I think we have a plethora of illegal short-term rentals that we need to address and decide what we're going to do with. And that's a discussion for another day, but I think any of those, that if those are available to be rentals, second homes, whatever, that's, or owner occupied homes, then we are adding to our pool for people to actually live in, rather than people to merely buy as investment properties or corporations to buy as investment properties and put them on the short-term rental
Right.
market, and it doesn't help us with our housing, affordable or not affordable housing. So, the other piece, I think that when we talk about rentals, the thing that I think we need to consider is with rentals, we need to consider some sort of a requirement of what is the duration for for a rental period. For example, 6 to 12 months, a 6 to 12 month rental or lease with no ability to have to leave that lease early. One of the things that is happening with rental properties that are illegal is they are crafting
I know.
rental agreements and saying, oh, you're gonna rent this for 6 months, but there's no penalty for terminating the lease early, and they terminate the lease in 3 days.
Right, and then do a new lease.
Okay, but I feel
And renew a new lease for somebody else, so.
friendlies.
Anyway, so I propose that we make short-term rentals not a use type right now. And we can come back later and change that.
What do you guys
after we
think?
Rental that.
Cause it was your little thing.
I'm not opposed to it. I think it sounds nice, but it's complicated because who's gonna say which of those condos is currently active and has a short-term rental and which ones don't? You know,
Well,
They have licenses.
it wouldn't affect anything that's.
It doesn't affect anything, it's already approved.
What we're looking at is someone else buying a piece of property and putting in a short-term rental in that zone.
Yeah.
Any new short-term rental, any ones that already exist, they're grandfathered in.
okay.
If they're legal.
I mean,
If they're
either way,
legal.
they're grandfathered in, it's a, like, because legal is an enforcement issue, which goes to the city council and an enforcement officer, that's not us. Until we write the code or something else, but we can write any code.
Well,
we
they have
want.
building, I mean, they have
No,
licenses. If they're legal and they have a
I
business
get that,
license,
I'm not saying
so.
they're not, what
yeah.
I'm saying is the ones that are illegal that you keep bringing up, is that's a code enforcement issue, it's not a
Right.
planning commission issue.
Okay.
So I think it would be wise to address this issue in a broad citywide manner, and so I am inclined to agree that we should, not including it now doesn't penalize those that are illegally
Right.
applying. It just gives us a little bit of time to create a plan that then we can come back to. It's easier to add, you know, to let up later than it is to add more restrictions later, so I'm inclined to.
I agree.
So I agree.
I'm fine with it.
Okay. So we would wanna change that to
No.
no.
Yeah, you
No.
just take it out.
No,
Yeah.
I just wanna change it to no. That was part of what we learned from Craig, if it's,
I'm not able to edit.
I think because Brian's like, all right,
Brian.
you know,
I didn't mean to shut anybody out, but I did turn on track changes for everybody, so. But yeah, right now we are modifying language for public review, so we're not going to delete anything, we're just going to redline it. And so the public can see both.
I did try to clean up and get rid of columns, but when I got to Word formatting, I.
Oh, the columns are,
Yeah.
first of all, it's Word, that's the problem, but. If I could throw another wrench in there with the short-term rentals,
Yeah.
one thing, and I had this conversation with Corbin after Terry brought this up after last week's meeting. There are currently subdivisions that Weber County platted 15, 20 years ago that allow in the subdivision note nightly rentals.
Okay.
That subdivision note it has preeminence over local zoning.
Okay,
So I haven't gone through all of the subdivisions yet to find out which ones have these notes, but restricting taking short-term rentals out of the zone will help we'll stop that use in certain areas, but there are subdivisions where if people know that it's permitted by plat, then they can bring that up and still.
Not just
It's just.
HOAs are subject to city ordinance. So if an HOA says, well, we want short-term rentals, that's tough beans if the city says no. But if the subdivision in its recorded plat says nightly rentals are allowed,
all right.
Then they are.
then they are allowed.
Okay, which adds to the credence that there seem to maybe be plenty of short-term rentals out there now, and it would be nice if we, later, when we have more time, if we can get a handle on how many there are and where they are. Right?
Very generous.
So yeah, I think that's.
So. This, I guess, because short-term rentals, what else did you have or any other comments?
Ground stuff.
Okay.
Ground stuff, yeah, there were some comments that I heard about the definition of private parks, playgrounds or recreational areas. And I'm not,
Is a private park like Liberty Park or?
no, that's a public park.
So
So
it'd be like within an HOA, like a swimming pool within an HOA development, or they want to put in tennis courts or.
Or it would be, it's my understanding that Powder Mountain just purchased well over 1,000 acres of land. Just up Powder Mountain Road, not that far up Powder Mountain Road, next to an open space area and what that means. Do we want any?
Is it in the city boundary? The land
Yeah.
purpose?
Yeah,
And it's zoned what?
I think it's zoned. I don't know if it's 83 or if it's F or H, I don't know.
It's on a master plan. It's this MPD, right?
Yeah.
This.
And we don't know if that's, and we still don't know where the actual lands are that the city agreed to allow development pieces to go forward. We keep trying to get that information and we are unable so far to understand where those pieces are so we can accommodate for those. Those are important pieces for us to get that information. Brian, any luck?
We're working on it. I haven't heard back yet this afternoon.
Okay, yeah, if anybody has that knowledge and can pass that along to us, that would be really important, because one of the things we're trying to understand is where are the parcels that are already spoken for? There are quite a few 1 acre lots that were already, that were grandfathered in from the 1998.
Right.
Move to the 3 acre zoning. It would be nice for us to understand where those are. And it would be nice to understand where the development units are, especially the ones that we don't have the specific details on, because those were part of a negotiated deal with the city, between city council and the mayor and the county. In order to
So
get
that
our.
part is F5.
Okay, great. Okay, so to wrap this up, I want to give it a chance on theirs. I don't think we have any other substantial changes.
Well, you were making a point on the public parks or the private parks.
Well, and
And
yeah.
I think the issue would be that in these areas that Lisa's talking about, that they could establish a private park for their members, for, whoever they want, that's associated with their group, and they could have parking lots, part of that private park. People would drive to it and through, other areas to get and then park there.
So essentially.
Do whatever they do, whether it's hiking or horseback riding or whatever. So we probably should have some kind of definition and restriction of.
Sure, it's a matter of parking.
If it's a secondary use for residential. Maybe
That's
so they can't, that's better. primary residential development.
I don't think so. I think that's like it's part of, well, this is your the HR, so yeah, you're right there, but I mean. We were.
This
struggling with that.
is HR.
I think it's
You said
only one,
we have the-
the land that Lisa was talking about, yeah.
Right,
But we're doing hillside residential right now.
Right.
You know,
Okay, but I think, and this is a definitions issue, I think, so the definitions need to be consistent across.
Yeah, it's probably more than just its own.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, so once we have a definition done, I think we, in your, on your zones where you're worried about that, I think you could have parks allowable as a secondary
yes,
use, not a primary.
With some, definition, some constraint on,
so, yeah,
Brian, you were raising your hand.
Yeah, in the Weber County definitions, which we're largely copying, but we'll talk about in the future. In the Weber County definitions, a private park is defined as a recreational space, park, that may or may not be open to the public. It may be, only usable by the homeowners association or developer for personal property, but they may not charge admission. That would be an amusement park or
Okay.
zoo or something like that, but.
Thinking more swimming pools, tennis courts, pickleball.
Right. I mean, it would be a recreational.
motocross park or what, yeah,
Typically what it ends up being is, it's like a tennis, pickleball, playground, something within a development that HOA's residents are free to use. They may or may not open it to the public. But it may be as big as, it might be a horse riding
it
trail.
could be 1,000 acres, right, when we're talking at five.
Yeah, our definition doesn't limit.
So do we want to put any restrictions on the amount of parking that? Or is that something that's in a large parcel? I don't know if there are any large parcels in HR that are going to be.
Worried about it for us, so I think.
Okay.
all right,
Yeah.
All right,
yeah.
so let's leave it alone for now.
So I'd like to move that we forward this draft document with comments associated back to Brian to clean up and prepare for public distribution and public hearing.
I'll start that. Okay, which, Fred, can you add which zone?
HR, the new zone HR, which was formerly FR3. Do we need any, in this area, do we need any sort of design standards? Or are there some already there that will be incorporated?
It's mostly all developed. Lands.
Okay,
There are some currently.
okay.
Yeah. Ready?
Did we vote on it?
So now we should.
I can't make that, I can't.
We already motioned.
We already
Oh, sorry, okay.
So
Another discussion?
Angela, I got Angela with the motion, I have Aaron as the second.
Any more discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Alright,
Aye. Look at us, checking it off. Hey. Do you want to go, Tyson? I'm gonna leave it up to you, Forest Valley or AV?
I don't know, Fred, you wanna do Forest Valley?
Forest Valley, sure.
we make Brian pull it up.
Sure.
Was these on up there?
Read that one.
Was this one getting a rename also or not?
No.
We're not rezoning anything.
So, we're good to go. We went through today and, or the past few days and put our table in there. We've, Tyson put in the stuff in the ag, zoning into here. Everything is good to go, other than there's a couple, uses in here that I think we wanted to talk about.
Tyson, did you get your, the watershed information, did you get that inserted? We talked previously about.
Yeah.
Okay, so Tyson also had a
So-
irrigation impact, We want that, we want that in. We may need to go back on
My,
HR. We may need to, we'll just in that case or something else.
you have a copy of it?
I think I got it.
Maybe, because I just don't have, I'm trying to get into the Wi-Fi here, just. Maybe I'll leave it in a second.
Alright, yeah.
Would that not be proposed for the public comment as well?
Yeah. Okay.
I don't have to go back to it.
I don't think so, no.
I think we need it in there now so people can see it. When it goes to public comment. Because it's something that when we discussed it, we feel like it needs to be included in each zones and then it'll. Eventually it can be reframed, so there's an overlay, but it's,
So once we find the language, then we can just motion to add that language to all the zones that we approved tonight. And that blankets everything.
That could work.
can we do that, Ryan? If we already approved one, can we go back at the end and add the language, add this language that Tyler came up with for irrigation? Looking for it.
I'm not a Robert's Rules of Order expert, but if somebody wants to accept an amendment to the motion,
Yeah, I think whoever made
I
it.
think, yeah,
Okay,
I think that should suffice for the minutes and.
What is this language?
yes. And we were putting it in here, and this is, draft, it's a irrigation protection ordinance. For irrigation infrastructure and agricultural drainage protection to protect the irrigation, the channels of irrigation that come through everywhere.
Existing irrigation channel.
Yes, so, and the irrigation water flows from where it flows, so it comes across land that is not necessarily the AV land, but it has to come through so that they, so that the water can get where it needs to be. And one of the, another piece of that is the person who has had a home in a particular place and the and somebody else builds a 20,000 square foot house right above them because the zoning got changed. And that person didn't deal with their water runoff and now they're flooding everybody out below them. This is, we're trying to address some of those issues that are very real. And for example, a developer has irrigation tributaries that come through their property and they decide they want to pipe those. That creates a huge problem for an irrigation company if the water is piped and the pipe gets clogged and can't get through to get to the farmers so that they can water. And you don't, if you lose your water turn once, you lose it for a week. But if you have to go in and argue and fight to get the pipe unclogged, which might entail digging up if they paved over it or put a part over the pipe, having to dig all of that up, that could be your entire fault for the year. And so
Well, it sounds like you have some language
Tyson
there.
has some good language.
And it sounds like this would be a separate ordinance, not something we want to.
Well, what was suggested to us is that it needs to be an overarching ordinance, but it also needs to be referenced in every single zone, because that water can come through everywhere. So because we're not ready to, we were told it needs to be very clear, so it should be in there. Brian, did you say that, or Corbin said that?
Corbin might have said that. My opinion is it needs to be in the subdivision ordinance. It needs to be a requirement of an approved, it needs to be a requirement that the irrigation company and the developer come to some sort of consensus on how that water will be managed. There are state rules in play on how on who gets precedence in certain situations, but it needs to be an agreement between the developer and the irrigator as to how that will be,
And
whether it will be piped or not, whether it will be fenced, how any sort of maintenance access will be allowed.
And we need to require that with applications and be able to say it's got to be taken care of and it's got to be continuous because to leave that litigation to an individual landowner or to a small irrigation company to fight the bottomless pit of money of a developer is not going to be fruitful. And the language that, what we're hearing from the farmers is if we can't get our water to our land is worthless. So that undermines our entire goal in the general plan of promoting agriculture and encouraging landowners to put their land in an agricultural conservation easement. Because if they do that and then they can't get water to their land, their land is then worth nothing.
Okay, so.
I mean, this sounds like a good idea. It
Yeah.
sounds like something that's a tangent to what we're doing right now. I suggest we put this aside and look at it as a separate issue after we get through some of these things on our agenda.
Well, Tyson can cut and paste them in.
Tyson is going to try to get it cut and pasted into the zones.
I already even seen it, so I'm not gonna vote to add it to this FV3. If you wanna table that and, not advance on FV3, I prefer we advance on FV3 and handle this issue as a separate issue at the appropriate time.
Or we can amend it when it comes back. I mean, it's still gotta go to public comment, come back, and then it has to go to the city council
Okay.
before it can be approved, right?
Brian, if we go ahead and put these out for public comment, and in our discussion, we have this new information that can be presented at the public hearing, could it then be voted to be incorporated, or would we have to?
It has to go out with the public notice
And that's
10
why.
days, 10 days before the meeting, ready for the public to meeting.
For consideration.
Well, it's frustrating because this is the first time most of us are hearing about it, and these were on the agenda to get approved, where we had
Sure.
2 days ago that we had language, we could have incorporated that and voted on it.
And I was just trying to get it, so.
Could the council, if we forward it on and forwarded it as an overlay element to be incorporated through all the zones, could the council then vote and hold their public hearing and provide that documentation then for those public hearings?
Yes.
Okay,
Then I'm gonna do that.
okay.
So what are we doing?
But somebody needs to take it in council other than you, because it can't be referred from the planning commission to the city council unless it's done, unless you'd consider it, run it through a public hearing and then recommend it to them.
So going back, I guess, to Brad's presentation, without the irrigation overlay. You want to finalize what we did, I guess, so we can vote on it.
Yeah, I'd like to do that. So, we changed the title, but just the kind of main things, couple main things. We changed the title from conditional uses to permitted uses. So with the intent of taking out conditional uses because all of these particular uses have some specific special provisions as it's titled there. So that's what we've done, with the exception of a couple that we wanted to just talk about here. First one, custom, that has a C on it, custom meat cutting accessory to an agricultural use. And that has a C on it now, and I guess we would just change that to a P. Everybody see that? And it says C section 104-2-4-5 acre use. Hey Tyson, anything about that when you wanted
I'm trying to pull it up with me. Peterson was saying. I wonder, are you working?
Yeah, I don't know where we are.
Sorry, I'm on the wrong page.
I wonder, if when we were working on it today, we put it on.
That, yeah, I don't know, because I was,
Okay, now I think I'm there.
that was confusing, I was hoping.
So we're on FV3 right now, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a working copy of that.
From 12
There
hours
you go,
ago.
plus the meat cutting.
But I don't know, let's see.
Someone's gonna be working. Who's not going to-
Yeah, this
There was a
is
lot of-
the working stuff.
These.
Code policies and procedures, and then there's gonna be under working couple of that.
Yeah.
F. V. Working draft chapter. Updated a few seconds ago.
So the copy that Fred accessed most recently was this number 2 working draft
Right.
chapter, so.
That's the one I have.
Okay,
That's the one I have open too, and that one still has. It still has the custom meat piece as a conditional use, and we're moving that to the end.
Looks like somebody just deleted it.
Okay.
Texted me.
okay.
Yeah, because mine just, I had it up and then.
Yeah, so somebody deleted a
uh,
good section of it.
Okay.
It's bad.
There we go.
It's bad.
all these.
Okay.
No, okay. I don't know who did that.
No, touchy.
Okay, so custom meat cutting, do we just change that to a P, the C to a P?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
And then C section, okay.
you doing that, Brian? I won't change anything, I'll just go
Okay.
through this. A couple more, cannabis production as defined by state code. Do we need to leave that in here, or just when we take it out, I guess that's our options, change it to a P or take it out entirely?
I'm fine either way, I think.
Where are you?
Down on page 8.
Yeah, if the state allows.
If the state doesn't allow it.
I think you just change it to a P because they have to conform to state
Right.
requirements anyway. Right?
As long as you're okay with
With
the
pot,
state
with the state.
approving one there, yeah.
But doesn't state override?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so just change that to a P.
Laboratory facility for agricultural products and soils
Yeah.
testing.
Yeah, what
Page
page
three
are
on
you?
That's what we can.
You right underneath that, right? It goes down for that. So just go to L.
Well, I'm. Okay, got it. Right there. Laboratory facility for agriculture, okay.
Okay,
So you want that to change to P?
That can change to B
Yeah, anybody, I don't have any,
for agricultural products
what that would
and
be,
soils testing.
okay?
But can I just interject with, again, I'm hooked on these, it says a zone character and objectives, which I think in other sections are purpose and intent. That doesn't, to me, meet any of this stuff below, right? So either we need to conform to that, or we need to change the objective. It talks about to provide area for residential development of forest setting and low density. Protect as much as the naturalistic environment.
yeah,
And then we have these zones, so for these. All these kind of high intense uses, right? And then to modify the expectation of the definition.
I'm not following your word.
it's supposed to be mostly residential and we're dumping a lot of stuff in.
Yeah.
So like custom meat cutting, is that a residential use? Or,
So. And I guess it's just a matter of time today. But you talk about that there's agriculture happening in this, and so we copied the use of agriculture zone, which included to some higher intensity uses. And maybe more. either, like I say, either changing the description or kind of parsing out some of those, like some basic things like raising animals and having crops, yes, but we may not want that in many cases. Where it's,
I think they definitely need to with that one by one, because some of these don't feel residential to me.
Well, and some of these, it was also that, you know, there is agriculture taking place in some of these areas, and we don't want to prohibit. I mean, we don't want to stop
I get
that,
that,
but I agree with you that there's a lot that muck up, yeah.
Yeah, I think they just got brought in and now they need to
And now they
be
need to be
taken out.
That's why I was raising this to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
so we want to do one by one.
Yeah,
Do we want
I think that's
to?
gonna take the rest of our time, which is
Yeah, we
fine.
can take the rest of our time and do that and see if we can get
that's why we're
through it,
here.
or we can. Do you want to get your job? Or we can say it's gonna be another week on this one, and we can jump over and see if we can take care of A, B, what do you think?
I think we might run into someone saying that.
We might, let's do this, but that's, stick with it.
Would be more appropriate maybe though. than
Yeah.
Just residential, so like the meat cutting, yeah, things that you just brought up.
Do we want to table FV3 or?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
Try to go where you're.
So then.
I mean, I think we've got to go through this as a group.
Yeah.
It seems one way or the other, so I would suggest we just
Let's just go.
start and then if we have to stop, we stop. And we
Okay, so what page are you on?
So that would be page 7 of 23.
Okay, page 7.
There, that's well, I mean, I guess if we start at the top, and all the stuff from the ag that was added in has the AB-3 with that
Slice.
struck through at the top of each page, so that's what we need to address is the ag stuff added in.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So accessory building, and accessory incident to the use of main building.
Which would be, I'm assuming.
Like a barn.
A barn,
I don't know, but the main building would be.
House.
Yeah.
So I think that is reasonable if somebody has,
So is it too much to say accessory and incidental to the use of the residents?
Maybe right above accessory use, we could just say primary use is residential, but it does not. No. Yeah, somewhere it should say primary use
it
is.
can also be a detached garage for big toys or boats.
Okay, but the main building is still.
Right, main
the house.
building is the language, the main,
I think that if you made only accessory, let's just say someone owns a parcel of land. I don't think that there'd be an issue personally. I don't see an issue with someone building a barn and storing stuff on their barn on a parcel we don't have a house on.
that's true.
So we don't want to make, I don't want to make.
That's what
But you already have by saying to use.
Maybe the main building is the barn. And the accessory building is the hay shack.
Okay,
I mean, I can think of one right now.
okay,
Okay, that would be, Brian Smith and Karen Bosler's, they have 50 acres. That's in a conservation easement, but they also have another big property that's hay fields and. Their daughter's horse farm and their chicken coops and things like that, and they don't have a house on that, so the barn, I think, would be the main building. And the accessory building, if they chose to have one, would be maybe either a hay barn or a place to store their trailer, something like that. Does that make sense?
yeah, it makes sense.
We talked this on which one you're not.
Yeah, I know, that's, we have this.
But that's why we're here.
This is important.
So does that change?
No,
Accessory dwelling units, good, accessory use. Good, agricultural, produce sales on site.
I would advocate to keep that if someone wanted to sell their.
Can we go back to accessories, being accessory to residential main use?
Accessory and
Why?
incidental to main use, it says.
Yeah, I would think accessory dwelling unit needs to be accessory dwelling unit. That, I would say that needs to be accompanying residence, not a barn.
but then you're
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
I was just thinking, it's just, well, let's see, these
Okay.
agricultural produces.
Packing, storage and distribution.
Should that be only of like site produced? Something, so it's like family farm stuff, or?
Yeah, and that's, I think later down in the description, it says that in the special regulations.
I don't see why.
I kind of need to go back to accessory dwelling unit. I want that defined. Tell me what you are.
It's already outlined.
I know, but I don't know what it is. So, and I went in there and I don't know.
So we will be adopting a code specifically for accessory dwelling units. That's something that.
An ADU, right?
And so we're saying that it'd be permitted and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. But it would have to be accessory to
A resident.
a house. So you have to have a house and then accessory. Okay.
Are we back down to custom exempt meat cutting?
I guess,
Yeah.
yeah, that's where it triggered me to be like, wait a second, well, residential here.
Yeah, but. You know, I think that for.
If somebody has a cow and they wanna process it with a person that comes in and slaughters it on
Right.
property, they should be allowed to do that.
Exactly.
We're not talking about a slaughter.
We're not talking about a slaughterhouse, we're talking about somebody who raises their cow and they want to.
And they wanna slaughter.
And they wanna, or their pig, or their goat, or their,
Right.
you know, rabbits, whatever those, yeah.
Says accessory to an agricultural use, so.
And it has to be on a 5 acre.
Yeah.
lot.
Also, just a quick background on the zone before we actually anything. It already had like bed and breakfast and some other slightly more intense uses. So
But those were up at
It's
the
not-
top, I thought we went back to.
only residential, at least its initial drafting had.
Okay.
Just like. Carry over.
Okay. Family food production seems fine, home occupation, home pets, main building designated for use to accommodate the main use. On-farm worker housing. On-farm renewable energy systems. On-farm equipment repair, maintenance and fabrication. Parking lot accessory to a main use allowed in the zone.
Can I go back to on-farm worker housing?
Yep.
Do we want to, I mean. If the zoning, if you have a 3 acre piece that you're farming, do you really need on-farm worker housing? Or do we want to say anything about this has got to be at least 5 acres, so it could be green belts? To be agricultural,
Within a green belt, yeah.
within the green belt zone in order to allow on-farm worker housing. It seems like if you have less than, if you can't be in the green belt, if you're not in green belt, then you're not really.
Well, and I think the thing that comes to me is how do you regulate that on-farm worker housing not turning into a short-term rental? There has to be something in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
There's more on that one, there's more specifications in the special regulations below.
In the section
Yeah.
And that
104.
10424,
Mhm.
okay,
Those are all valid questions.
so you want to add
We could add a 5 acre.
I like it.
another 5 acre minimum parcel?
Yeah,
Who's gonna add that?
Brian, can you add that?
Yep.
Is there?
Where do you want
Have the on-farm worker housing units, blah, blah, blah. I just put it in there that subject to 5 acre
Minimum.
minimum.
Just to know, guys, you're at 5:30.
We are.
okay, I gotta go.
All right, so we stop here, next week we'll pick up with farm renewable energy system. Get through the last one.
And you got a lot done?
I understand, close our meeting.
It's okay.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
There you go.